Hi beautiful souls, welcome to my channel Elle's Temple. My name is Elle, I'm a goddess guide and intuitive tarot reader. Welcome back to my returning viewers. Welcome if you're new here. I'm so happy to have you all here. I hope you guys are all doing well wherever you are in the world. So today's reading is going to be all about what are you releasing this full moon eclipse in Pisces. So this is going to be an intense full moon. As you guys know, I haven't really been doing full moon or new moon readings for a while, but I felt really called, the goddesses called me today to do one for this particular full moon eclipse because it is going to be a fairly intense one, or we're already kind of in the full moon portal at the time I'm filming this. The energies are essentially available for any full moon or new moon portal for a good few days leading up to that moon cycle, so up to the full moon in this case on that day, and a good few days after, even up to 5 days after, before the crescent new moon. So you've got many days to kind of essentially work with this energy and to really use it for what it's here to support you with. So as I mentioned, it's going to be an intense one, and it's going to be a very transformative one. It really wants to ensure our growth because it's an eclipse or a partial lunar eclipse. This is a time when essentially things can come up to the surface, which, you know, is often the case for a standard full moon anyway, right? It's about illuminating and bringing things to the surface, but particularly with an eclipse, it can cause, you know, sudden epiphany, sudden revelation, sudden awakenings, sudden transformation, sudden shifts, like energetic shifts. Excuse me. Eclipses are really designed to kind of like fast track or like be like a sort of lightning bolt in a way, like energetic lightning bolt to support us to shift and grow and transform and evolve into our higher self. So if you are on my Cosmic Goddess newsletter, you would have got a newsletter about this full moon eclipse. I sent it out, this morning, the day that I'm filming this, so Monday. So check that out if you haven't already. If you want to be on my newsletter to receive the new moon and full moon newsletters that I send every fortnight, just go over onto my website, ellstemple.com. And in that newsletter, I go into a lot more depth about this particular full moon and how it can support you, what you might expect, what kind of energies are flying around, you know, with it being a full moon, I should say, in Pisces. This is a water sign. It is a mutable sign. So this is a lot to do with change and going with the flow and like connecting in with the emotional body. You know, it's a sign that very much connects with the depths, the cavernous depths of the emotional body. So yeah, a lot of emotional stuff might be coming up. A lot of, intense energy might be coming up, but it's all designed to shift us and support us to grow and transform. So like I said, check out my website. If you sign up, feel free to drop me an email on my website. There's, a contact me form there. If you would like to receive the Pisces full moon newsletter, I'm more than happy to forward it out to you if you haven't been on my newsletter before. So just drop me a note on that and I can certainly resend it essentially to you, and then you'll automatically be signed up to get the future ones. So along with getting the Cosmic Goddess update, which I go into, like I said, into depth with each new moon and full moon. I'll also mention if there's, you know, any other goddess asteroid activity that is significant, or any other major astrological shifts that we're going through. Also Wheel of the Year stuff, you know, each time we go through that, I notify about my new blog posts on there. And I also give exclusive discounts to any of my programs, which coming up, I've actually got a Dark Goddess Circle. So if you are drawn to this reading and you are going through a lot of the energy that's coming up, is that the collective at the moment is going through a lot of deep shifting, a lot of deep transformative healing, and a lot of like healing of essentially shadow work. In a nutshell, it's shadow work, really. This has been coming up in many of my readings, and I've noticed with some other readers as well. It's like a big theme for the collective, so I'm sure many of you have been feeling that lately, that there's some things that that's coming up for you, or things that you're connecting with, things that you're working to process and to transmute. But like I said, with this full moon eclipse cycle, this is all designed to support us to transform, to evolve, to transcend, to, you know, essentially get us out of being stuck in, you know, lower vibrational density energy, or lower vibrations, lower you know, habits, certain conditioning that we've been stuck with, sometimes through many, you know, through a lot of our lineage and all of that. So we get into a little bit of that with one or two of the piles here today. So yeah, if you are feeling like you would need some support with this process, if you're at a transition, if you're at a crossroads, if you're going through a lot, if you are feeling like you would like the support of a circle to help you transmute this and work through this shadow stuff collectively that, you know, you're feeling you're going through, then check out my Dark Goddess Circle. I will leave the link to that below. We're working with many amazing goddesses, including we start with Hekate, Lilith, we've got Isis in there as well, and many other beautiful goddesses, powerful goddesses that we'll be working with to help essentially alchemize that shadow, connect in with your creativity and with all that energy that's been sort of held in your shadow, so to speak. Any gifts, any sort of aspects of your unique soul that are trapped in your shadow, and working to release those and to free up that energy so that you can be your authentic self and you can step more boldly into your power. This is all about stepping into power. Dark Goddess Circle really supports us with power. So check that out. I'm only accepting very, very small number of people with this circle to keep it really potent. And to ensure that everybody gets the support that they need within the limited time that we have. It meets once a month. It's a 6-month journey beginning the 3rd of November, right on lunar Samhain, or Halloween, if you like. So 3rd of November runs for 6 months through the dark half of the wheel of the year. So through the portals of Yule, Imbolc, and then finishing on Ostara, which begins the light half of the year. So if you feel called to that, my loves, check out my link. It is elstemple.com/dark goddess circle. I'll leave that below for those of you that might feel particularly going through this eclipse season, or whatever it is you're going through, that you might feel called to receive some additional support. It is going to be a very held, safe, sacred container, and with the support of a small nurturing group of soul sisters. So I would love to see you there. I would love to welcome you into the circle. It is going to be magical. It is going to be powerful, and it's going to be transformative. But to return to the reading for today, to introduce each of the 3 piles, if you are drawn to card number 5 with Blue Tara and Transmutation of Anger, and I've also got crystals for you to choose from today, or if you're drawn to the Carolite crystal, you will be pile number 1. If you are drawn to card number 22 with Mama Kocha, which is Plunge the Depths and Work with Your Shadow, okay, or the Amazonite crystal, you will be pile number 2. And last but not least, if you are drawn to Goddess Kuan with Ancestors and Past Lives, or this orange banded agate crystal, you will be pile, or chalcedony as it's sometimes known, you'll be pile number 3. Okay, my love, so pause the video if you need a little bit more time to choose which pile is most drawing you in. It could be the crystal, it could be the image on the card, the goddess, it could be the energy of the pile. So just trust your intuition. See which pile is drawing you in. It may well be that more than one pile is calling to you at this time, because there could be multiple things that are coming up for you to release, to work with over this period. Sometimes with eclipse energy as well, it might not be something that is immediately apparent or immediately comes up, you know, right on that portal, right on that exact, you know, around that sort of week or so. Sometimes with eclipses, it can take months, even sometimes years after that eclipse, before you start to kind of see the difference, or you start to kind of see the impact of that eclipse, or, you know, certain things can kind of shift for you. So just to kind of make you aware of that, and also that if you're drawn to this reading at another time, trust your intuition. It may be that you're going through a release, or it may be that something from that eclipse season is something that's you're still working with, you know, a little bit later on. So there could be some support, some guidance, some healing for you, an activation, whatever it might be within this reading for you at that time. So just trust your intuition on whenever you feel called to watch it. Okay, my loves, I will see you in your pile. Hi there, pile number 1. If you chose card number 5 with Blue Tara and Transmutation of Anger, or the Charoite crystal, then this will be your reading. So I'm going to start with some channel messages, and then we'll move on to the oracle cards that I've pre-pulled. And I've also got the Goddess Tarot here today to get a few tarot cards as well. It's not going to be a super long reading because it is a full moon eclipse reading, so it's just going to be a bit of a check-in to help support you through navigating this particular cycle. And then certainly if you feel drawn to it after as well, by all means trust your intuition. There may be a message for you about what you're releasing at that particular time. But let's get into the channeled messages that are coming through. So pile number 1, what is coming through overwhelmingly and really just immediately hit me as soon as I pulled this card out is throat chakra healing. So this might be something that for some of you may already be aware of. You may already be working on healing your throat chakra, any blocks to your throat chakra. But for others of you, this could be a really potent time through this full moon portal to really focus on doing some throat chakra healing. There's many ways you can do that. You know, there's sound healing is particularly potent. You know, there's chakra meditations on YouTube. So many different creators. You know, if you just type in throat chakra healing, throat chakra meditation, throat chakra sound healing, crystal healing, even using like certain crystals, any kind of blue crystals, and like, you know, putting them actually on or around your throat chakra, or wearing jewelry around your throat chakra like a necklace or something like that could really help support you. Because what is coming through overwhelmingly for you, pile number 1, is I'm hearing the need to connect or reconnect with your truth, with your voice, your inner voice, with your authenticity, and sort of essentially almost do that digging work to rediscover your authenticity. Because I feel like with this transmutation of anger here, it feels what's coming through really strongly is like a part of you that's been suppressed. I feel like there's a strong part of you that's like been pushed down, rejected, not accepted through whether this was through conditioning in childhood, whether it was through certain words that were spoken to you, certain like, you know, negative, belittling, criticism, whatever it might have been, whether it was within family or within the church or a school or friends or whatever it was, maybe multiple situations, right? But it's created a situation whereby your true self, your authenticity, your voice, it is your creativity, your expression. That's what's coming through really strongly. Your expression has been suppressed and pushed into your shadow because there's something around not like accepting your inner voice, not really feeling safe to express yourself, not feeling really safe to speak up for yourself, to, you know, speak up for your needs, to assert yourself, to speak your truth, to just kind of express yourself, generally speaking. And you may be kind of thinking for some of you like, oh, well, I don't really have that much problem expressing myself. But the question is whether it's always coming from your inner truth. And that's really where the throat chakra comes in, because when the throat chakra is out of balance, when it's been, you know, when there's wounding there, where there's blocks there, where there's been negative conditioning, you know, we may still be able to express ourselves in terms of we may be very eloquent, or we may be able to carry out our jobs, you know, very well. We may be able to kind of, you know, speak and be heard, but it may be that, like I'm hearing corrosive, it may be that over time, it's like that because the truth is not what's being spoken, it's like corroding to our soul, right? It's like where, you know, we may be speaking up for, you know, a certain part of ourselves that wants to be validated, that wants to be liked, that wants to be accepted, that wants to be recognized by someone or something, whether it's in the workplace, whether it's around friends, whether it's, you know, whoever it might be, with whether it's in relationships. And so there's almost like little, it could be a little bit of people pleasing tendencies going on, or even just little lies. And I don't mean that, I'm not saying you're lying maliciously, or it's coming from a, like, you're deliberately intending to mislead people. It's just that because there's this strong block coming through with the throat chakra, and we'll get into why that is in a moment and how you can release that. But for now, just to say that because that block is there, or because that wounding or that that imbalance is there with your throat chakra, it's like that connection to your, that really strong connection to your inner truth, and that integrity to stick to what is your inner truth to stand up for yourself, to stand up for your needs, to be really honest with yourself, and to really like discover yourself and who you really are and express who you really are. And like, you know, this is okay. Like, this is a collective thing. This is, we're all going through this. This can be a, you know, a layered thing that can take, you know, many years to work through. You know, it can be a wound that you may have already done some work on, but it's just kind of coming up to the surface with this full moon eclipse in full moon eclipse in Pisces. You know, Pisces is a very creative sign, right? It's a very artistic sign. So there could be aspects of your expression that want to come up and out of you, that want to be expressed, that want to be seen, that want to be, you know, created in the world, or just kind of put out there in some way, that you've been kind of repressing and blocking because of some kind of wound, some kind of conditioning, something that's been like pushed into your shadow, essentially, where, you know, perhaps when you were younger, you tried to express yourself a certain way, and, you know, you were told to, you know, shut up, or like be quiet, or sit down, or like, you know, even certain gendered things like, you know, girls don't, you know, run around and like, you know, express themselves in that way, like, you know, bossy little girl, or I don't know, it could have been some sort of negative gender conditioning, or, you know, it could have been cultural, could have been like, you know, we don't talk like that, or we don't want to draw the neighbor's attention to us, we don't want to speak out of turn or speak up because, you know, what will people think of us, you know, particularly if there was like, you know, maybe some sort of situation whereby you were lower socioeconomic, or you were, you know, a different culture to the mainstream culture. And so there was this desire to like, you know, keep down, be sort of suppress the true self, like keep quiet, keep down, like don't draw attention to yourselves. In fact, I was listening to a podcast the other day from it's a book podcast, and it was an interview with Marion Keyes, and she was talking about how she had this conditioning growing up, how there was this I believe she was saying it was because her family, they had kind of come up from working class into middle class, but there was this kind of, she was talking about the kind of Irish cultural thing around like not to have notions about yourself, not to, you know, like sort of keep down, stay down, you know, don't get notions about being above your station. So there could have been just some kind of cultural conditioning. It may not have even been very, you know, super directed at you, like in a really you know, deliberate, malicious way or anything, but it's just like, it's caused you to kind of distort yourself, to keep yourself small, or to keep yourself held back, to sort of repress parts of yourself that want to be expressed, that want to come through, certain truths. And so there becomes this, it's like dilution, I'm hearing, like you're diluting your truth a bit, or you're diluting the truth of your soul that wants to come through you and wants to be expressed. Let's move on to the oracle cards, because I feel like more will come through, but I think that's all that wants to channel at this point. But let's have a look. We've got the Venom card number 63 as the archetype. I'm doing this reading a little bit differently. We've got two cards to look at. Firstly, what are you working through at this time, or what might be coming up for you? What archetype you might be working with, what wound you might be working with that might be, you know, that's coming up to be released through this full moon eclipse in Pisces. And then we're going to have a look at two cards to see, once you have released this, or once you've worked through, or once you've gone through this eclipse season, what the result will be, like, you know, what you then have available to you. So we've got, for the other card, for the wound that you are working through releasing, we've got Abused, card number 14. And then for the energy that you have available to you on the other side of this eclipse, we have got card number 61 with the Mask. And then we've also got card number 43 with the Goddess. And then we've got a Healing Consciousness card, which I'll come back to at the end after the Tarot. So with this Venom and Abuse, this is, I feel like this is internalized, because we've also got transmutation of anger here with Blue Tarot. I feel like there's some sort of anger within you that needs to be expressed, that needs to be released, that needs to be transmuted in some way, whether it's like channeled into something creative or something expressive, or just purged out of you, or alchemized into some other energy, you know, neutralized in some way. And in fact, carite, I'm sorry, I keep calling it carite for some reason, it's charite. Charite crystal is really good for that. It's really good for transmuting negative energy. It's good for emotional healing. It's good for releasing negative patterns. It's good for purifying and detoxifying, like purifying the aura. So any negativity, it helps release negativity trapped in the aura. So this sort of venomous energy, this negative built up, pent up energy, which I feel like is part of yourself that is angry, or the anger is coming from that part of yourself that is angry at being repressed. And that is where this abuse comes in. Now, the abuse, I'm so sorry, first of all, that you have gone through this, whether this was in childhood or in a partnership or possibly even both, or in friendships or through church or whatever it might have been, church or school. This is something that specifically, I feel like for you, pawn number one, this abuse that you were subjected to, whether it was like neglect, whether it was just, you know, you didn't receive the acceptance, you know, the validation, the recognition, the unconditional love, the support that you needed to kind of be your true self, to be able to express yourself, to be able to, you know, feel safe and, you know, worthy. I'm definitely getting a strong sense of like wounding to your self-esteem and self-worth here. So there's something around there being this holding on to this anger and this, which is becoming kind of venomous. It's becoming like a poison within you. And that anger is because of what happened. That anger is because of something, some kind of abuse that you were subjected to. It could have been a particular situation. It could have been an ongoing situation. It could have been a very subtle situation. It could have been very aggressive. It'll be different for all of you. And it'll play out differently for all of you in your lives in terms of how this affects you. But overwhelmingly, what's coming through is that it's affecting your ability to express yourself, truth, like your truth, like really express your creativity, your truth, like everything that your whole true self that wants to express, your authenticity, excuse me, to stand in integrity. It's funny, I'm getting, as I'm talking about throat chakra stuff, I'm getting massive like throat chakra activations going on. It's feeling your energy going through a big processing. So yeah, you might be getting a lot of throat stuff happening. Like there might be a lot of purging or throat things. You might often be someone who suffers from, you know, laryngitis or throat issues or things like that. But if not, don't worry. It you know, you'll know if this reading applies to you if you feel like, yeah, you've got some unresolved anger, or if some unresolved anger comes up through this full moon eclipse portal, and where it's coming from is because there's a part of you that's been suppressed. There's a part of you that wants to be expressed that has been pushed down and suppressed and not accepted in some way, not validated in some way, not held, not supported, you know, rejected essentially. Like there was a part of you, a true part of you, a natural part of you that wanted to express itself, and it got shut down in some way. Or maybe, you know, it could have been once, it could have happened multiple times. It could have just been very like natural exuberance, you know, childlike sort of curiosity, joy, desire to just, you know, squeal and shout and express yourself and use your voice and, you know, all of that. And you might have had a lot around like, you know, sort of shutting up and like, you know, don't speak and you shouldn't be heard, or children should be seen and not heard, or girls should be seen and not heard, or whether it's something cultural, whatever it was. It's like there might have been some conditioning, some belittling, some criticism around your natural self-expression, or it could have been a certain, you know, when trying to express yourself in a certain situation, or certain like even potentially like natural forms of expression, like sexual expression or something, that may have been, I'm hearing like ridiculed. So that could be quite a specific situation, like maybe in high school or something like that. You know, there was a part of you that tried to express yourself. Maybe you were trying to date or whatever it might be, and you got rejected, you got shut down or something, or you went through sort of an abusive partnership or something along those lines that kind of really caused you to like shut down. It's like shut down your authentic self-expression, your truth, your being able to express your needs, being able to really stand up for yourself, being able to express your creativity. And it may be, I'm hearing you may have had limited success with some of those aspects, but I feel like there's so much more that could be opened up. And I feel like this full moon eclipse, for those of you that were on my newsletter, I went into a lot more depth about this. So feel free to, I mentioned in the intro, feel free to drop me an email on my website. There's a link to contact me. If you would like to receive that newsletter, I can re-forward it out, because I go into quite a lot of depth in that about how to really use these full moon and Pisces eclipse energies to kind of support you to transmute and to transcend, because this energy is really designed to do that. It's designed to kind of bring stuff up and shift it out. It's happening for the collective. You know, we're in the process, obviously, we're in the process of evolving, you know, ascending, all of that. And as we go through that, it's not all love and light, right? It's like there's shadow stuff that has to come to the surface. We can't just like click our fingers and kind of instantly ascend, unless we're Hekate. But for most people, it like is a process, and it's cyclical, and it can be quite intense. And eclipses, as much as they can be uncomfortable and they can cause a lot of intensity and things to be brought up to the surface, that it can be, you know, old stuff, old trapped energy, trapped anger, suppressed, repressed anger. That's what I'm getting, repressed. There's a repression of energy or repression of anger, or, you know, frustration at what happened to you, which is perfectly valid, and that needs to be expressed and heard. And eclipses are a powerful time to, it's like a surge of energy from, you know, the cosmos that is supporting you to kind of like shift it out so that you can evolve into a higher version of yourself, so that you can transform. So I'm just noticing 14, they're drawing my attention to the number 14. Maybe this abuse happened around the age of 14. So sometimes that may not, I mean, it could be something that happened within the home, but often the age of 14, it could be through something at school or with peers or with, early experiences of intimacy or something like that. Maybe there was a toxic partner, or it'll be different for all of you, like I said, but whatever it is, there's a toxicity or a toxic view of yourself that you've internalized because of what's happened to you. So I feel like how you see yourself is like it's been negatively impacted. I feel like that's why we've got the third eye wide open here on Blue Tara. There's something like that you're not seeing about yourself, and and I spoke about the charoite being a crystal that supports self. I think I mentioned it helps with self-esteem, self-worth. So there's something about sort of seeing yourself through different eyes, through valuing yourself more, through healing your self-worth, through knowing that you are valuable and worthwhile and worthy of expressing yourself, of being here, of taking up space, of being validated and respected by people. I feel like there's something around sort of acceptance and rejection being here as a bit of a wound that might be kind of coming up for some of you. Let's get some tarot before we move on to these cards. I feel like called to kind of get a little bit more about this situation. So can you tell us more about this venom? What this venom situation is. Yeah, oppression, the Wawalek. This is card number 16, which is, I believe this is the Tower card in traditional tarot. Yeah, the meaning on this card is saying feeling overwhelmed, oppressed by circumstances or emotions. Like the Wawalek, the light has left your life. You're waiting to be released from the darkness. There's, oppression and suppression. There's some sort of anger at a situation where you were oppressed in some way. It could have been I did mention about a cultural thing. It could have been because of culture, class, race, gender, but maybe for some of you it was just you were individually targeted for some unknown reason, or you were the target of oppression or repression within your family, or at school, maybe being picked on, or just yeah, sort of put into a very dark situation. It's interesting that both this card and this card have got, like, they depict a kind of desert situation, like a very dry, arid desert. So I'm sort of getting from that, it's almost like molting. I'm sort of getting, you know, like a dryness, a lack of support, a lack of, you know, when there's a desert, there's no water, right? Or there's not enough, it's very dry. There's not that life-giving, replenishing waters, the emotional support. So I'm sort of getting a picture of, maybe for some of you, this abuse was like neglect. It was like lack of emotional support, encouragement, validation. There was a sort of oppressive environment that you grew up in, so you couldn't sort of naturally express yourself, or naturally, you didn't naturally feel supported to be your true self. It was very, maybe there was someone around you who was, it's like they might have had a lot of like this venomous energy, like bitter energy, dark energy, very oppressive energy, possibly rage. And then that's kind of something that in turn you're working with to transmute, because you've internalized some of that in some way. Like it's like the anger's been passed down or passed on, or like you've internalized a lot of the projections that were put onto you in some way, maybe. Kind of like you've been stuck because of that negativity, that toxicity, that that conditioning that you've internalized, and it's like kind of eating you up in a way, or keeping you stuck. It's keeping you stuck. It's keeping you down. It's keeping you suppressed or repressed or oppressed. Let's move over to this side now. So through this eclipse time, this may bring this stuff to light. It may bring it up for you. There may be a bit of purging. As I mentioned, supporting yourself with some throat chakra healing could be very helpful, because it may help you to, you know, like purge some of these emotions, to express yourself in some way, to kind of channel the energy into something maybe creative potentially. But with the Mask card being here, this is very interesting, because when this card first came out, I was like, why is the Mask coming out as a, you know, kind of positive outcome? Because I kind of thought, isn't it more about like dropping the mask really? But actually in the book, it's got a very interesting description, which I'm going to read because I feel like this is very important. So we often, the mask, the persona, the performance, the reveal. We often think of a mask as something that conceals our identity, yet contemplate the possibility that the mask permits our true identity to be revealed. It allows. The mask gives voice. There we go. That's that throat chakra, the blue. The mask gives voice to that which was previously rejected. Yeah, I think I spoke about rejection with that wounding. When this card appears, enact the side of you that is seeking expression, yes, yet it was never given a role to play on the stage of your life. You are in the realm of theatre, so anything is possible. Speak with the other's voice, embody the other's limbs. You are taking part in the ritual of expanding the self. There may be mischief and deception around, and others may be trying on new masks too. No one is sure who is who. It's likely you've become so attached to a single mask that you need to fall face forward into this perception bending time. Trust it. And when light, it says, reveals what has been suppressed, exactly, what's been oppressed and suppressed. When the mask is in light, it's actually an opportunity to reveal, to allow, to show what's been suppressed. And when dark, it further conceals what is rejected. So, yeah, I feel like there's something around your finding a sort of happy medium between like what you express and when and to whom, and not letting, you know, the wounding that you had from childhood or whenever it was that you know, you sort of internalized this and it created this anger about, you know, being suppressed in some way. It's like letting that go, releasing that wound so that it doesn't like mean that you're always trapped and chained behind this mask, like projecting this sort of negative self to the world. It's like you're, or this it's not really a negative self, it's like a hidden self. It's like completely in the dark, it's completely hidden. It's like you're hiding your true self from the world. Like this side of the mask, yes, there is a bit of a mask there, but there's also all this beautiful color. So it's like this mask kind of allows a little bit of playfulness, a little bit of creativity, a little bit of like, you know, let's allow my identity to evolve a little bit. Let's open up a wee bit. Let's see who we can trust and kind of express ourselves in these different, you know, in these different ways. Let's sort of try different personas on. Let's kind of construct and create a healthier identity for ourselves. And we've got the goddess here, which I'm going to read from the book because there's like a beautiful, there's beautiful guidance in here about, where are we, 43. Okay, so keywords: unity, alliance, healing, potential, realization, and recognition. Yeah, so you're beginning to like realize your true self and to recognize yourself and like hold space for your truth and your self-expression. So okay, I feel called to read this bit and then the invitation. So the goddess knows her resources, qualities, and strengths. She taps into them to realize her potential, flourish, and find fulfillment in life. She expresses these resources, qualities, and strengths fearlessly and unashamedly with rightness of the heart. The goddess is aware of her wounds, taking care to treat them so they don't become obstacles. Her aim is to continue to grow and elevate herself. Each day, the goddess frees herself further from past memories to connect with her original essence and embody her true nature found in her innermost being. The goddess has healthy, balanced, nourishing, and fulfilling friendships, as well as work, love, and sexual relationships in which she can always be herself. The goddess is aware of her shadows. She observes them benevolently and from a distance to free herself from them and head towards greater light. The goddess's chakras are open and regulated so she can shine and express the different dimensions of her being. Finally, the goddess has deep self-knowledge. She knows who she truly is and she lives authentically and uniquely. She's connected to her true essence so she may express herself fully. Yeah, there's a lot around self-expression. I can't remember if I mentioned with the charoite crystal as well, it aids inner exploration and self-discovery too. So it's a good crystal to work with all of this kind of stuff. To find, you know, to self-discover, to find out who you truly are, to live authentically, to connect with your true essence so you can express yourself fully and not hide behind this like dark mask that is trying to keep you hidden from the world. And the invitation says, this card invites you to become aware of your qualities, strengths, and resources. Treat your wounds, bring harmony into your relationships, transform your shadows, open and regulate your chakras, recognize yourself in all your splendor and deep essence, expressing yourself freely in your words and actions, and be authentic. Yeah. So yeah, there's a lot around expression, authenticity, truth. It's all self-discovery, finding your true essence. That's all kind of mostly throat chakra stuff. Also to an extent, probably solar plexus as well, because that is about like having the confidence to kind of then, sort of bring that expression to the world in a way. The mask card was talking about, this being an opportunity for kind of theater and taking up center stage in your life, like taking that place on the stage of your life where you've previously not been allowed to do that. When you've tried to do that in the past, it's been, you've been oppressed in some way or suppressed in some way. So now that you're giving yourself the chance to kind of take up that center stage, it's kind of, it's just reminding me of Leo energy, which is very connected to the solar plexus. It's like, Leo energy loves to be center stage. It's very creative. It's very charismatic. It's very like expressive. It's very confident and like has that, just wants to be in the limelight or on stage or kind of like, sort of putting itself out there in some way. So there's something possibly around solar plexus chakra healing as well, but particularly throat chakra healing is coming through really, really strongly. Let's get one more tarot card for like what is coming through for pile one as a result of healing this wound. What is coming through for pile 1 as a result of this healing this wound? And ooh, oh, I like this. Yes, this is Princess of Swords, which is Page of Swords energy. So I feel like this is like getting really clear on what, yeah, like who you are, what your strengths are, where you want to go in life, like cutting away people and situations and things that don't serve you, having strong boundaries. You know, the court cards in the sword suit in particular, it's like they cut through, right? They will set a strong boundary. It's like, you know, don't cross me. Like I will cut you out of my life if you cross me. It's like they've got a weapon at the ready. So it's kind of like, you know, she's standing up for herself. She's got that weapon. Also, swords are about truth. And so I feel like this is what's coming to you, is this beautiful princess page energy of like starting to step into your truth more, starting to get clear on what that truth is. You know, that's that self-discovery process. Like, you know, by cutting away what isn't you, by letting go of, you know, any negative projection or any like negative conditioning, anything where like the truth of you and your self-expression got pushed into your shadow, because of, you know, whoever it was around you that couldn't handle that. It's like you're learning to discern and cut that away and be like, okay, that's not, you know, that was their stuff. That's not really, you know, that was because of where they were at, that they couldn't accept me or, you know, validate me or hold space for me, you know, that I couldn't be seen, that I wasn't allowed to express myself. It's like you're kind of cutting that out, you're clearing that out. It's not blocking you anymore. You're getting really clear on like where you're wanting to go forward. I also feel like, you know, there's a significance in how like these cards, like there's all this rain, the figures are kind of sitting on the ground, kind of like beseeching the sky. It feels very heavy and very stuck energy. You're moving from being stuck, from being like unable to move forward in your life in some way, to take action, to kind of, you know, like have that clarity and take action on what you feel called to like standing up here and like you've got a sword at the ready. You're kind of like, yes, this is my truth. This is what I want to go towards. This is what I'm doing now. I'm clearing out any kind of anything that's getting in the way of me going forward. And the final card to finish up, we've got Moonbelly with Healing Your Gut, card number 12. Yeah, so some of you, this like venomous energy that you've dealt with in your life, this toxicity from the abuse that you went through, or the you know, rejection or lack of acceptance, neglect, whatever it was that you went through, oppression that you went through when you were younger, that may have created some inflammation for you. Let me read from this card, and I feel like with this full moon in Pisces, it may bring this up to be healed. So we've got key concepts: healing gut, healing shame, self-forgiveness, feeling other people's feelings, people-pleasing. I think I mentioned people-pleasing. It might have been when I was channeling, or one of the cards I was talking about, possibly with the not really always speaking your truth, like sort of feeling you have to say certain things to please people or to be accepted or validated or whatever. So yeah, people-pleasing, codependency, empath, hypervigilance, and anxiety. So much of our mental and physical health depends on our gut. The gut is often where we feel and store unprocessed emotion. If you are very empathic, you might even store the emotions of others in your gut. This card comes to you as an invitation to process relating to your gut in a new way. It will aid you in processing old traumas and healing at a cellular level through deep compassion and self-love. The practice of imagining tenderness, care, and health for your gut can have a lasting impact. And there's a creative visualization here, which I will hold up to the camera. Okay, so close your eyes and focus on your gut. Imagine placing a small moon in the center of it. The moon is so loving and healing. It is so happy to be in your gut and radiates a healing light your gut absorbs easily. Feel as the moon absorbs deeply into every area of your gut. From this sweet moonlight, the most perfect tiny white mushrooms begin sprouting. Each tiny mushroom is there to lovingly restore balance in your gut. You feel a warmth spreading through your belly as every part of your gut is gently returned to the balance that is in your highest good. This healing light clears every feeling you've stored in your gut. The light forgives every time you've ignored your gut and every food you've eaten that hurt it. Your gut is being restored by this beautiful healing moonlight and bringing you back into balance easily. And the journal prompt is, allow your gut to talk to you from a place of healing. What loving words does it need to hear? What kindness does it need? Imagine it as a small frightened animal. How can you care for it from that perspective? Yeah, what I was really drawn to was that part about this healing light clears every feeling you've stored in your gut. And I feel like for you, pile number 1, it's this feeling of like anger, this sort of venomous feeling that's been internalized, that's sort of trapped in your gut because of the oppression, suppression, abuse, rejection, whatever it was that you went through. But I feel like that's something that's like being brought up to shift out for you, to sort of release you from those chains that have been binding you and keeping you stuck, so that you can move forward with more clarity and confidence and discernment and into your truth, and into this expressing yourself, as this goddess card talked about, expressing your essence confidently, being, standing in your essence and expressing your truth, the truth of who you really are. So pile number 1, I feel like those are all the messages I have for you today. If this supported you, give me a like. It always helps me out. I appreciate each and every one of you who's been liking, supporting, sharing, commenting. Subscribe if you're not already part of my community. I would love to have you here. Check out my website, elstemple.com. Sign up to my Cosmic Goddess newsletter. Hello, pile number 2. If you chose the card number 22 with Mama Cocha and dive deep, work with the shadow or the Amazonite crystal, then this will be your reading on what you are releasing this full moon in Pisces partial lunar eclipse. So I'm going to begin with some channel messages as usual, and then we'll move on to your oracle cards that I've pre-pulled, and then we'll get a little bit of tarot as well and finish up with a creative consciousness healing oracle card for some guidance and a little ritual as well. So to begin with, pile number 2, I feel like what you are releasing this full moon eclipse season is something related to emotional energy that has been stored in your shadow, emotional energy that's been trapped in your shadow. And I feel like it's calling you to really like dive deep, because I feel like this is something that is not recent. It's something that might have happened a long time ago. It's something that is very deeply buried, like in your subconscious mind, or even in your unconscious. It's almost like you're not, it's like it may be something you're not really even aware of at all, like you don't have any memories of. I sort of feel like this is a deeply repressed memory or memories, or deeply repressed emotions. There's a little bit of overlap with pile 1s. If you also felt drawn to pile 1, there was a little bit talking about repression with that pile as well, but that was quite specifically around kind of anger at a result of certain treatment. But with pile 2, I'm kind of feeling like this is more energy. It's like there's emotional energy that's stored, or there's like treasure I'm kind of getting that's stored in your shadow. It's like certain aspects of you that maybe weren't valued or weren't really heard or weren't really seen or credited when you were younger. I kind of feel it's giving me sacral chakra energy. So maybe, creative energy, emotional energy. Those are all linked to the sacral chakra. It's like there's emotional energy that wants to be used for creative purposes. There's aspects of yourself that have been kind of pushed into your shadow because they were deemed unworthy at the time of being expressed. So there's definitely, again, there's a little bit of overlap with pile 1, which makes sense, when we're working with full moon themes. Quite often there can be like a lot of overlaps with the collective. In some ways, maybe I could have just done a collective reading. It'll be interesting to see what pile 3, what comes up for pile 3, although that is more to do with past lives. But here, there's a lot to do with like unleashing the shadow is what I'm hearing. Unleash your shadow. It's like there's emotional energy, repressed emotions that are stuck in your shadow that like, it's like it wants to be released, like a torrent of energy needs to be released from that shadow part of yourself. So there's this call to like dive deep and really work with that and find ways to kind of communicate. I'm just being drawn to the Amazonite, which is all about like communication, harmony, peace. You know, it's a stone of like, it's linked with both the heart chakra and the throat chakra. So it's like communicating from your heart, you know, expressing your truth, expressing your feelings, expressing your emotions, you know, finding a sort of harmonious way to kind of do that. Finding ways to kind of come to peace with yourself and with your emotions. So that's kind of the general theme. So if that sounds like it resonates, let's move on to your other oracle cards. So we have got, I'm doing this reading a little bit differently, by the way. I've got 2 cards to start with, which are looking at, sorry, the camera's jiggling a little bit. 2 cards to begin with, which are looking at what the wound, I guess, or the shadow, the archetype that is coming up to be released at this time, and then 2 cards to look at what will be available to you as a result of doing this release, and then we've got a healing card which I'll finish with. So let's begin. So we've got the Village card number, this is 41, and we have got card number 8 with Unappreciated. Yeah, there we go. So this is like certain gifts, certain talents, certain expressions that weren't appreciated by the village, by the people. You know, this is connected to the root chakra. We've got a lot of red in this card as well, and orange, which is the sacral chakra. The root chakra is, you know, your home, your roots, your family, your conditioning, you know, where you've come from. It might not just be family, it can also be, you know, your wider circle, like the village, the community, the society, the cultural beliefs, all of that kind of thing. And I feel like this is coming up to be released. There's some conditioning still there that has affected aspects of your truth and aspects of your expression, and aspects maybe of how you communicate. And those parts of you have been repressed and forced into your shadow because the people in your kind of village, like i.e. your home, your school, your community, the wider society, the wider culture at large, couldn't appreciate those aspects of yourself. So for you, you've internalized that and deemed that as somehow negative, as bad, as something to be, you know, kept like put away, hidden out of the light, hence it's gone into your shadow. And those parts are still there, they're waiting to be reintegrated, and you can certainly use them in your life. And that's why we do that shadow work of diving deep and working out, you know, discerning like what are these aspects that have been deemed unworthy, what are these aspects that weren't appreciated, what are these aspects of myself that weren't valued, or, you know, I got ignored or rejected or whatever it might have been when I tried to express myself, or when I tried to be creative, or when I tried to, you know, just communicate in a certain way, or, you know, just be myself, or like express my truth in a certain way. It's like there was something that wasn't appreciated about how you were and by the sort of people that you're around. But the village, the energy of this archetype, the village that you're releasing, it's very small, right? It's very small-minded. It's very, it can speak of control. The village can speak of control and limitation and all of that. So it's kind of like you're giving up that now. So maybe for some of you, you're moving away from home or something, or you're, you know, even if you're not physically moving, or even if you've already moved physically a long time ago, there may still be energetically, right, or psychologically, or just emotionally, certain things you've internalized from that environment that you still kind of are holding on to in a way. They're still affecting you. They're still kind of, you're still demeaning yourself in a certain way, subconsciously, right? Like I said, this is buried. This is quite deeply buried. These are like emotions and energies that have been kind of really pushed down. And it could be because of one specific trauma or something, one specific incident that happened. You know, maybe you expressed yourself too loud in class one day and the teacher got really angry at you, and it just like shut you down or something. Or it could have been, I'm thinking with the green and the heart chakra link, it could have been something to do with how you emotionally express yourself, or how you express your emotions, or how you express love. Or something to do with how you communicated, like emotionally, or feelings, or something like that. And maybe that was, you know, not appreciated by the adults around you for whatever reason. You know, maybe you had a lot of siblings and they just couldn't give any time or energy or support to you. Or you know, maybe you were a very creative child and you tried to express your emotions and feelings through something artistic or creative, and, you know, no one around you had time to acknowledge it or appreciate it. or they just couldn't like really see or value your talent, because like they had never had that valued in themselves. So they just couldn't hold space for that. They just couldn't see that in you. They couldn't appreciate these aspects of you, these unique aspects of you, because that had never been done for them. And so in turn, they just can't recognize it in others. It's very kind of small-minded energy. It's very like, you know, kind of, and this came up in pile 1, so there could definitely be some crossovers between these two piles, but that kind of like, it's almost like, yeah, keeping people down, you know, don't sort of, you know, don't stick out from the crowd, don't be sort of heard by other people, like don't, you know, make a name for yourself, or don't, you know, don't shine too bright, or, you know, it's kind of like, you know, stay down, like keep small. You know, we don't want to draw attention to ourselves. It could just be kind of like a family belief like that, or a cultural belief, you know, kind of like very reserved, you know, maybe the group of people, the village you were in, or, you know, even if it wasn't literally a village, it's like the community or society that you grew up in, it was very like reserved. And so there, you know, wasn't really much encouragement around like expressing yourself, or you know, appreciating any of your talents or your unique gifts or anything like that. So there's some healing to be done around that. Let's have a look at your other cards to see what's available to you on the other side. We've got card number 42 with aligned, and we've got, yes, the creator, exactly, 22, which is amazing. We've got 2 22s. So 22 could be a significant angel number for someone here. You might be seeing 22 a lot. Which in numerology 2222 reduces to 8, and 8 is all about, we're in an 8 year at the moment actually with 2024. Some of you might have heard me talk about this on my channel before. It's all about manifestation and about abundance and bringing things, you know, if you think of the figure 8, the number 8, it's like linking the higher self, the upper self, the, you know, the connection with the higher self, and bringing it down onto the earth with integrating, you know, what you're receiving, that inspiration you're receiving, integrating it and grounding it down into the physical 3D reality, like actually creating something. And I feel like maybe for some of you, like you may already be creative, but you may struggle to maybe like share that creativity with others, or to really align with that creative aspect of yourself, because that maybe has been repressed and pushed into your shadow and deemed unworthy, not really appreciated by the people around you. You know, this could even be, if it wasn't family or society, it could have even just been like a teacher at school, right? Like maybe there were many talented children at school and you tried to do something artistic or creative, some kind of subject at school that was very creative, and your work just, you know, maybe you got low grades, or like your teacher just didn't really appreciate how you wrote or something, and you got bad marks, and actually your writing was amazing and it was really imaginative and really creative and beautiful and like, yeah, inspirational, but like the teacher was a grumpy old, I don't know, they just couldn't see, they couldn't appreciate your talent, they couldn't, you know, it didn't maybe fit into the narrow, you know, I'm speaking about that kind of small-minded sort of thing, that controlling, limiting. It's like there was like a limit on your creativity. There was a limit that was put on it, so it got kind of crushed or pushed down, because it's like maybe you had to try and fit this unique creativity into like this narrow confines of like what would fit with, you know, your what do you call it, you know, like GCSE or whatever the school qualification was, right? You know, and you know, or just even at your school generally, or even at, you know, maybe you were part of some kind of creative, you did a hobby or something like that. Maybe you were a dancer or an actor or a singer or an artist. And I'm just noticing with the paintbrush, maybe you did some kind of fine art, and it wasn't, you know, like, you know, you might have even gone to university to do it, and your work wasn't appreciated by your teachers or by the powers that be, or the, you know, the people, I guess, like the people with the power to kind of like value your work and say whether something is good. Sorry, you guys, I'm just realizing like the battery is going, apologies. So there's something in this, through this full moon eclipse, that's asking you to surrender. Maybe there's a need to kind of do a bit of introspection, maybe some journaling, maybe some like, you know, I'm hearing like childhood regression work or like regression therapy or something, which I don't know if there probably are meditations on YouTube. I've not personally done it. So, you know, maybe someone, if you've done that before, you could share if you've had an experience of that. You know, obviously find someone that you feel you trust. There's plenty of meditations from people who are like, you know, certified therapists and things like that even. So, you know, where there's that bridge between kind of, you know, being like some kind of, you know, qualified therapist, and they also bring in, you know, meditations and mind, body, spirit elements into their healing. So yeah, find someone who you feel you trust, if that is calling you, if you feel like that might support you, because I do feel like this is quite deep. Or maybe for some of you, you may need to seek out an actual therapist or someone who does. You know, maybe for some of you, you've already been thinking like, what is it that's blocking me from this? Like I have some kind of block, but I don't know what it is. Maybe you've already tried doing lots of things, and it could be because this is just something you literally can't access. It's like maybe the memory was quite painful, and so at the time you kind of disassociated and pushed it down. It just got shoved into your shadow, and it was like, okay, never again. Like it's not safe to express myself in this way. It's not safe to put my work out there in this way. It's not safe to be creative. It's not safe to share. It like won't be appreciated. It'll be rejected or whatever it was, you know. And some of you might have very specific memories you know about, so maybe you don't fit into that camp. And it's just a case of kind of working with those and, you know, working to surrender those and release those. But for others of you, if you feel like you have a block, but you don't know what it is, like you have no memories of why you have this creative block, it may be helpful just to kind of like release the energy. It's like what I was talking about when I was channeling at the beginning. It's like there's a surge of emotional energy that's available to you that's kind of trapped in your shadow. And I feel like by a guided meditation, a guided therapy session, a guided like visualization type session, where you can drop down into your subconscious and like be guided through to connect with that part that wants to come through and be heard, that part of your shadow that's been suppressed. You know, you may not necessarily get the full story of the memory. It's not really for that necessarily. It's not to like relive it or anything, or to know the exact details of exactly what happened. It's more just to like release the energy. And so you may, you know, go through a bit of a purge, or you may energetically release, or you may just suddenly get a lot of like downloads or clarity around like, oh my gosh, this energy, this emotion has come up, like this feeling of like when I was, you know, 8 years old and I shared some creative project in front of the class and everyone laughed at me, or like, you know, the kids tore it up, or like the teacher was horrible to me about it, or I was, you know, I was just, they you know, said it, I did it all wrong, or like whatever it was. It could be one thing, right? And that kind of caused you just to really repress your creative gifts, really like push them down, push them away, and see them as unsafe is what I'm getting. It's like, it's not safe to express myself. It's not safe to express my gifts. It's not safe to use my creativity in some way. And it's like beautiful energy that is available to you that wants to be used, but it's being shut off is kind of what I'm getting. And it's important for you because I feel like this is blocking your alignment. Like I feel like once you've released this block, this trauma, this memory, or this sort of energy, emotional energy that's kind of trapped in your shadow, once it kind of like releases, it'll create this flow again, this flow of this like flow of energy through you where you can align better. It's like all your chakras will kind of flow a lot better. You'll be able to receive inspiration and bring, like I was talking about with the figure 8, bring it down and actually ground it into the physical reality, because you won't be kind of so blocked by this like, you know, fear or like repressive thinking, or kind of you know, this conditioning from that, you know, stifling environment or small-minded environment. It won't be like dictating to you. It won't be causing you to maybe self-sabotage or play small or just not even use your creativity or your creative gifts in any way. Yeah, it's definitely important for coming into alignment. I feel like, you know, I was talking about the number 8, and I just saw we've got the number 8 on this unappreciated card as well. Yeah. Let me get some tarot, and then we'll move on to the creative consciousness card to finish up. So let's just give it a bit of a shuffle. So Spirit, for Pile 2, can you tell us more about this village and unappreciated energy? What does Pile 2 need to know about this wound? What does Pile 2 need to know about this wound? That they're releasing strength. Beautiful. Card number 11. 11, which is the number of alignment. So Oya is the storm goddess. You can see all the lightning around her. And she is a goddess who can help you work with that kind of storm energy, if you like, stormy emotions, you know, lightning bolts of like maybe flashes of, could be surges of anger or upset or, you know, trapped emotion that is like coming up. I feel like maybe this full moon in Pisces, and as I spoke about in the intro and also in my newsletter, which by the way, if you want to get my full moon in Pisces newsletter, I've already sent it out on Monday morning, but if you drop me an email on my website elstemple.com, there's a contact me page, so just drop me an email on there and ask for the newsletter. I can resend it to you, because I go into quite a bit of depth in the newsletter about these energies and what might be happening for you over the coming days or weeks, and how to kind of really use this portal. But this Pisces energy, you know, Pisces is a water sign. It's a very deep water sign. You know, it's very like, I mean, this is Pisces energy, plunging the depths, right? Like diving into the depths. That is Pisces. It's, you know, the cavernous depths of the ocean, which is symbolic of the emotional body. It's symbolic of, you know, our feelings. And so this full moon might really stir up some emotional energy. It might really stir up some feelings, some trapped energy. And it may be that for some of you, you may know what this is. You may know exactly, you know, what's being stirred up. You may, you know, feel it. And maybe for you, if you know, then it's a case of like channeling it and using it to give you strength to create something with it, you know, like really kind of like, you know, all the, you know, best art really in the world, right? Like the best songs and so much of the best art comes from like channeled emotion, like, you know, from pain and from suffering and from betrayal and from, you know, all of that. It's like it can actually be like a, you know, a beautiful portal into creating something really beautiful that can help transmute the suffering for others when they listen to that art. You know, it can help catharsis, right? So for some of you, this full moon in Pisces, this situation that you went through where you were really unappreciated, and by the way, I'm just noticing that how the reddy orangey color of the dress is very similar to this card here. You know, this situation, you can really transmute it. You can turn that situation where that, you know, village, that home, that, you know, your roots, the people you grew up with, the school, the university, the whatever, you know, you can transmute that and use it to actually bring you strength and courage to go forward and pursue a new life, you know, where you're more aligned, where you're using your creativity, you're using everything that maybe even happened to you, you know, and creating something from it. But yeah, it may be that there's a need to kind of go through a bit of a like purging, releasing, a letting go, a kind of a catharsis in a way, like a emotional, like just a sort of like I'm getting with the Oya, with the storm goddess, like the storminess that, you know, there might be like a bit of a storm that comes through, but stormy energy is very transformative, right? Like when a storm builds up, you know, in nature, it's like it clears the air, and like it feels so much better afterwards. It's scary during it, but it like is so much better after. It's like all that humidity or all that buildup, or you know, that energy that kind of builds up, it's like it needed to be released in like, you know, fast ways. So there might just be some like fast, I don't know, possibly some like downloads or some like flashes of inspiration, flashes of ideas, flashes of like revelations, where you get sudden like clarity about like why you've had these blocks, or like these things that are blocked in your shadow, and like how you need to use them to go forward. Because like I said, I think I said this in the intro, but I said it in my newsletter, these eclipse seasons, they're intense and they're transformative, and they can be disruptive and potentially intense, but they are always designed to align us with our highest self and with a more evolved version of ourselves. We get another card for this creator energy, this aligned energy for pile number 2. Whoa, okay, 2 of Pentacles. Yeah, I was just speaking about the like infinity symbol, the number 8, and how that's like bringing the higher self, bringing the muse, the inspiration, the connection with the higher self down into the earthly plane. You know, it's juggling both of those aspects of yourself. And actually that is Pisces energy in a way, because it's the 2 fish. The symbol or the glyph for Pisces is the 2 fish swimming in opposite directions. And one is like very wanting to like merge with oneness, merge with the universe, merge with spirit, you know, and the other one is wanting to stay on the earth. And so there's this kind of split, but in the traditional glyph, it shows a rope that ties the 2 fish together. And so that they're actually bound. It's like you have that, you know, that connection with the higher self, but it's bound to the lower self. It's bound, like you can connect up to the higher self and bring that inspiration, bring that wisdom down onto the earth. So there's this sort of juggling going on, this recalibration, this realignment, reconnection with your higher self. I know that's not the traditional meaning of the 2 of Pentacles. Don't worry, I don't read traditional tarot. As I say in my intro, I'm an intuitive tarot reader. Most of you guys have been on my channel for a while know that. I just want to kind of point that out, because I channel when I read. So these are the messages that are channeling through from Mama Kosha about what you need to know about this creator energy and aligning with this energy. I feel like, yeah, there's going to be like a harmonizing, like a coming into balance. 2 of Pentacles can be about balance. So yeah, it is bringing into balance like that connection with your higher self, with like feeling more aligned, feeling more feeling more connected with your higher self, so that you're more able to create without this archetype, this energy, the village, being held back by the village, holding you back. It's like you've had the strength to overcome all of this, and so you've rebalanced. Like that doesn't hold the. It's like you know, you acknowledge where you come from. It's not that you have to, you know, kind of lose contact with everyone and walk away forever and never talk to anyone again and say that everything in your childhood was bad, or you know, it's not necessarily about that. It's like, you know, it just doesn't hold sway over you anymore. It's like a rebalancing of like you coming back into kind of the driver's seat in your life, or like you having the strength, the courage to like, you know, put your creativity first and to align with your own path. Let's get one more. What else does pile 2? Ooh, okay. 8 of Pentacles. Look at this, you guys. I love this. We've got the creator card with the painter, and then someone is painting here. So this is exactly it. This is, I mean, of all the 8 of Pentacles, you know, it doesn't always show someone painting. Sometimes it shows someone like working in different tarot decks. So in this particular deck that I've chosen to use for this reading, it's someone using paintbrushes and paint. So some of you may well be artists, like literally you create art. Or otherwise it doesn't have to be. It's just using creative energy in your life, right? Like, you know, it's that sacral chakra energy, that emotional energy. Now that release has happened, that emotional release, those blocks, that sort of sense of like, you know, my work isn't appreciated, I can't share my gifts, like I'm not going to be heard, whatever it is. It's like you've overcome that. And so you're free to work, you're free to create, you're free to like pursue this now, and also potentially to make money from it, I feel like, if you're not already. Maybe for some of you, you know, you may be a little bit creative already and you just haven't like had the courage to really put your work out there or charge for it, or maybe you're not charging enough, or you're not really maybe you're not really exhibiting your work in the case of an artist or something, you're maybe sort of hiding it away. But yeah, you're getting to a point now where your Eight of Pentacles is also to do with mastery. So it's like you're aligning with mastering your craft, mastering your creativity, using your creativity in your life, whether you're an artist or you know, you're just, you know, whatever it is that you do, you're using creative energy more in your life, like you're being more creative. And we've got Queen of Wands, which I love, which is all about, wands are all about creative energy. And we've got this sort of fire, the same kind of reddy, orangey, fiery energy here, which is like a kind of theme through your reading. It's almost like, you know, the sacral chakra, you know, can be about like sparking and igniting that passion, right? That creativity, that joie de vivre, that like spark of life, that creative spark. And so I feel like as you maybe tap into this shadow energy and release this blocked emotional energy, that will like allow you to like reignite that spark again, that creative spark. And yeah, kind of come into that with that queen energy. It's like, you know, become more sovereign with that as well. It's like not just seeing it as a like little side thing, or like a little hobby, or like something that's not really valued or appreciated, because that was how, you know, this childhood conditioning made you feel about it, about this gift, or about this aspect of yourself. It's like you're owning it, right? Queen energy is sovereign energy. It's like, yeah, damn, like I am creative and I am like inspired, I am lit up, I am passionate, I have that creative power. It's that manifesting energy again. It's that like ability, that number 8, like ability to connect with your higher self, to connect with the muse, to receive that like inspiration and then bring it down to the earth and actually manifest it. Wands are about manifestation. So there's this you stepping up like hugely, like queen energy is bossing up, you know, it's stepping up, it's stepping into your power, stepping into your sovereignty. It's owning that gift, owning that talent, owning that creativity, working towards something. Like maybe you're working on a big piece or a big project. Definitely getting kind of glow up energy. I love this for you, pile number 2. So this might be quite intense. There might be quite a lot of emotional stuff that comes up, but it's really designed to like connect you with your power and your creativity and align you with the work you're meant to be doing in the world, I feel like. Anything in the shot? Yeah. So let's finish up with the creative consciousness healing card. So you got simplify, clearing away what you don't need, card number 40. Interesting. Okay. Let's see. Okay, cleaning, organizing, getting rid of what doesn't serve you, and letting go. We all hold on to things in our life in one way or another that no longer serves us. It could be material, objects, food, patterns, clutter, relationships, the list goes on. This card comes to you with the support to let go and simplify an area of your life that feels heavy, overwhelming, or chaotic. You'll be amazed at the ripple effect when you let go. Yeah, I feel like this is to do with like letting go of this old conditioning, really. That's what you're clearing out. It's like you don't need that. The next place that you're going to, you know, this stepping up into this boss energy, this Queen of Wands energy, this aligning with your higher self, with your creator self, the self that can like manifest, you know, your goals, your dreams, your visions, your creative visions. Shifting into that state or that self is like you've got to let an old self die, right? You've got to clear that out. You've got to release that old part of you that says like, oh no, I've got to stay small. Like people won't appreciate my work. No one's going to like it. you know, there's no point putting anything out there. There's no point sharing this because, you know, whatever reason you've been taught. It's like you're letting go of all of that. You're reclaiming your creative self. You're reclaiming your gifts. You're reclaiming your passion. You're reigniting that spark, that fire again. Love this. So yeah, you're just clearing away any conditioning, any patterning, any like limiting beliefs from childhood that are stuck, keeping this like creative energy stuck in your shadow. That's I feel like what you're clearing away. That's what you don't need in this new place. So the creative visualization is close your eyes and imagine an area of your life that feels scattered, difficult, or overwhelming. Is there a place in your house that feels the same way? Imagine yourself in that space. Feel into that space. What feelings do you have? What is coming up for you? Feel deeply into the physical space and its belongings. Reach out your hands and imagine you have a magic wand. Items are leaving and rearranging. Magic is flowing through the space as you hold it in the highest good. You feel a deep cleansing energy rising up into the space and cleaning it deeply. Everything that is not in your highest good is leaving. Breathe deeply and feel what it feels like to be in your simplified, grounded space. And there's a journal prompt here, and it says, if you struggle with simplifying in one or more areas of your life, try journaling with a part of you that feels overwhelmed, scared, or angry. It could be that you pack your schedule tighter than you'd like, have clutter, or hold on to items for too long. Ask this part of you that resists simplifying what it needs to feel safe. Thank this part of you for protecting you and listen to what it has to say. What really stuck out for me from that prompt was about, it could be that you pack your schedule tighter than you like. So some of you, yeah, I think I mentioned something about self-sabotage earlier. I forget. Anyway, some of you may be resisting your aligning with your creative gifts because you, I guess, like, yeah, what it said, it's like you, sorry you guys, I've been channeling for, I just drew a complete blank. What did I just say? You may be self-sabotaging. And how that may play out is that you don't allow yourself time to really create what you want to create. It's like you pack your schedule too tight, you pack too many things in, you're really overcommitted to different things. You're committed to like maybe these people, the small-minded people in this village situation, like trying to get validation from them or sort of hanging around that sort of energy too much. And it's like keeping you, it's like you're not around the right environment maybe to like encourage you to really align with this gift or support you in this way. Because maybe like your friends from home or something, if you ever tell them that you like writing or you like painting or you like photography or whatever it is, whatever you're feeling called to create, it's like maybe they don't really know how to take that and they might try and dissuade you from it a bit. Or like you'll say like, oh no, I can't go out on Saturday because I've got to work on my exhibition or my project for this. And they're like, oh no, like you can do that later, don't worry, like come out with us now, like, and they kind of don't really support you in some way. So it could be something like kind of maybe putting up some boundaries with some people that are kind of that mindset, that sort of village mindset. And that could be colleagues, it doesn't have to be like people from your hometown or like old friends, it could be even current friends or just people around you now, people in your family or friendship group or colleagues, whatever it might be. It's like there's maybe some lack of appreciation, lack of support for what you do. So maybe that's also being highlighted here, because that may be allowing you to stay in patterns of self-sabotage where like you continue to maybe play small, you don't like commit and work on like really mastering your craft and your gift and like really working towards like putting something out in the world. It's like it's sabotage, essentially self-sabotage. So if you recognize that you do that, then it may be like this is something to like work on through this full moon in Pisces portal, heal that sabotage, like connect with that part of your shadow that's like perpetuating those patterns of sabotage. Like why do you sabotage it, or why do you hang around people who don't support you? You know, how can you let this go? How can you release this energy that's blocked? You know, like I said, for some of you, it might be deeper. It might be that you need to do a sort of like regression, either with a therapist or through a meditation or through like sound healing or something, and just sort of get in touch with that creative energy that maybe like really sort of blocked. There might be some kind of like actual trauma that may need to just kind of like come up, you know, that stormy energy that may need to come up, be felt, be held, be heard, and be released, so that, you know, it'll then free up all this space and energy for you to start creating and aligning with your higher self. So aligning with this Queen of Wands energy, which is really beautiful. So I feel like those are all the messages I have for you, pile number 2. I hope that resonated for you today. Hit the like button and the subscribe button and comment below if it did. I would love to hear from you. I'd love to have you subscribe if you're not already part of the community here. Check out my website, elstemple.com. I've got a Cosmic Goddess newsletter I send out every new moon and full moon. I also have a Dark Goddess Circle, which I'm starting on the 3rd of November. I'm so excited about it. We are working with some amazing goddesses, Hekate, Lilith, Isis, a bunch of other amazing goddesses, for a 6-month transformative journey, which actually, pile number 2, could be really up your alley with what you're working with right now with this creative energy, because that is exactly one of the things that we're going to be working on as part of one of the sessions for that circle. It's a 6-month journey. We meet once a month for 2 hours, and then there's also additional supportive bonus content that I supply as well, bonus course content throughout the 6 months to anchor in everything we do in the circle, which is all online, by the way, so you can be anywhere in the world. You don't have to be in the Northern Hemisphere to do it, as long as you can join the circle. I supply the recording if you can't be there, but essentially it's all about alchemizing the shadow, which is exactly what you got. So it's that kind of thing we're going to be doing, is like literally deep diving into the shadow and pulling out these repressed parts that have been shut down, that are wanting to be expressed, that are wanting to be, you know, used for creative expression. So yeah, igniting creativity and stepping into our power. That is all about what the Dark Goddess Circle is going to be working on. So I'd love to see you there. I'd love to welcome you into the circle. I feel like it could be really supportive for you, pile number 2. But otherwise, all the best on your journey. If I leave you here, I will leave the link to the Dark Goddess Circle in the description box below. Feel free to send me an email in the Contact Us page section of my website if you've got any questions about anything. If you'd like me to send out the Pisces full moon newsletter separately to you if you've missed that one. Otherwise, all the best, and I will see you in the next reading. All my love. Bye. Hi there, pile number 3. If you chose card number 19 with Kuyen and ancestors and past lives, this will be your reading on what are you releasing this full moon in Pisces. Okay, so I'm going to start with some channel messages as always, and then we're going to move on to the oracle cards that I've pre-pulled, and then we'll finish up with the creative consciousness healing card and ritual. So pile number 3, with this ancestors and past lives energy, I'm really feeling really strongly that there is some like ancestral trauma potentially that you're releasing, or maybe for some of you, you've been doing some work already on your lineage, on healing like either past life wounds from like specific past lives that you've had, or just ancestral wounds, ancestral energy, like things that are passed down through your bloodline, or like I guess like ongoing toxic patterns and things like that that have been passed down through, you know, from like your mother or father, and then going back because the same pattern happened to them, and so on and so forth, and it goes back and back and back. So it'll be slightly different for all of you. Certain different things might resonate, but I definitely feel like it's very past energy. It's like for you, pile number 3, I almost feel like you've probably done a lot of healing on your current life. You've done probably a lot of work on yourself. You've done a lot to like, you know, work on your shadow and do inner child healing and, you know, holistic healing and heal your health and like, you know, all that kind of stuff. And you may have got to a certain point where it's like, I feel somewhat like I've healed certain things, but there's certain stubborn issues that just do not go away, like certain quite significant things that it's like you haven't been able to shift. And like, no matter what you've done, maybe you've even done therapy, you know, whatever it is, like traditional talk therapy or psychotherapy, or you know, certain different modalities or whatever. I just kind of get a strong picture for you, Pole, a strong vibe from you, Pole 3, that you're very, like, very wise, very old soul. Like you know a lot about healing. You've kind of already come a certain way with it. But now where you've got to, and this is often the case for if you're a light worker, a starseed, an empath, a healer, often the work that we have to do when you get to that point, or when you incarnate as that, as a starseed or a healer or whatever, is even deeper. Like, right, like we're here as light workers to heal the whole, whoops, just knocked over the tarot deck, heal the whole lineage, right? It's not just healing within, you know, just childhood conditioning, or healing certain, you know, kind of patterns or relationship dynamics, or you know, like shifting energy with clearing spaces and things like that. That may be all stuff you do and have done, but also I feel like you've got to a point, Pole 3, where it goes even deeper than that. And now it's the stage, and some of you may be already doing this, so you're just using, you know, this could just be confirmation that, yep, you're on the right track, keep doing it. And this may be needed to be done a little bit more deeply over this full moon lunar eclipse portal. And that is past life work, past life healing. So going back into, like, there may be certain fears, certain beliefs that you have that don't stem from anywhere in your current lifetime at all. And it's because, you know, you've had a certain past life where something really traumatic happened, and the trauma sort of occurred at a soul, like it was like integrated into your soul. And your incarnation now, you're meant to like shift and heal that and evolve from that trauma, evolve from that pain, you know, evolve from that lesson. For some of you, like I said at the beginning, it's through your lineage. Like, it may not be so much about specific past lives that you've experienced. It may be more to do with now you are here to heal the ancestral bloodline. On either your father's or your mother's line, but I'm getting pretty strongly it's the feminine line. Which we'll get into in a bit more detail in a moment. But I feel like as much as like this work is very deep, it can be very painful, it can be very heavy, especially ancestral stuff, right? Like, we're not just dealing with like individual interactions or traumas or things from within our own childhood, which absolutely not to knock that work. It is extremely hard and painful and difficult, and most of you have probably already done that anyway. This is just like, it can be very heavy because if no one in your lineage has ever done any kind of healing on the line, and there's been a lot of like intergenerational traumas, intergenerational abuse, intergenerational suppression or oppression, you know, because of class or race or culture, you know, so like, for example, slavery and things like that. If there's been, you know, certain like, I don't really read for this energy, but this is what I'm channeling, curses. And it'll resonate if it resonates for some of you. I'm not going to kind of talk about that too much because I don't really, like I said, I don't read that energy, but it might be, what's a better way? Spirit, what's a better way of wording that? I'm hearing like victimization, or like where someone's just, I guess like a curse has power if someone believes in it. And if someone in your family lineage has like taken on a negative like spell, for want of a better word, you know, someone's kind of, you know, and that can be just from anything from like a witchy type thing or a like a spellcaster type thing, or someone actively putting an actual curse, through to like just someone, you know, verbally bashing someone, right? Like verbally cussing, you know, calling someone, you know, like, for example, I'm getting shown a really strong image of like someone in the, what is this, spirit, 18th century, 1700s, 1800s, being called like a whore. You know, so being shamed for their sexuality, or being shamed, you know, for maybe they, you know, went with another partner than the one who was betrothed to them, or whatever it might have been. And there was just this, you know, it's like a curse put on their line by, you know, the the husband to be the one that she was betrothed to or something. I don't know. It was like, it wasn't sort of a curse, if you know what I mean, but it was like just, you know, shame, right? Shame was put on the family, like, and then the whole family then, I don't know why I'm going to such specific detail, because this might just be for one person, but anyway, the whole family kind of was, you know, and in those days, like, if women were pushed out of society because of sexual things, sometimes that could mean literal destitution or literal, like, maybe, you know, just total economic destitution, on the streets, death maybe, or just societal death, you know. So big deal stuff, right? And then that might have like passed down, like maybe that person then had a child, and then by association they were like, oh, they're the horse child or whatever, and then it kind of like passed down, this sort of like negativity around sexuality, negativity around like womanhood. These are quite specific things. It's very, I'm feeling pretty strongly this is feminine line, but you know, it could have been something on the father's line. You know, it could have been like the father's mother or whatever it was, you know, that going back. But there's strong, like, yeah, it's like shame, I'm getting pretty strongly, repression, maybe slavery. You'll know, like, it'll vibe, it'll resonate, you'll feel it in your body. You know, and it may be for some of you, if you don't know what this is, if you feel called to through this time, if you're having sort of energy coming up and you don't really know where it's coming from, or if you feel like this power is really resonating and you feel like, yes, you know, like I've done everything else possible. This is no longer work from within my own lifetime. This goes deeper. This is like, you know, maybe you've even found out from family recently, or, you know, your mom or your grandma or someone has shared something that happened to them, and you're like, holy crap, I didn't realize this was in our family. I didn't realize that had happened to them, or whatever it might be. And it's like, oh, okay, well, that makes a lot of sense, because then that makes a lot of sense now how my mum was, and that makes a lot of sense now how myself and my siblings were, or, you know, and it's like, oh, okay, so now I need to do work on that, because no one's been able to do it. Which usually when you're a starseed or a light worker or whatever, you incarnate into families where that hasn't been done, because that's the whole point of like incarnating at this time to help awaken and heal humanity. We come in with the like most difficult, most usually sort of energetically dense, where there hasn't been anything done on the lineage. So it's deep ancestral stuff, right? And it's heavy and it's hard work and it's not straightforward and it's not linear and it's not a like immediate process. It's like requires quite a lot of it's very cyclical, and it requires a lot of deep healing, but it's very transformative, you know, like, and it's sort of selfless work in a way, because it's kind of like you know, you're not only going to heal yourself, which you will, but you will also heal everyone in that lineage. So if there's any grandparents, ancestors still alive, it heals them. And in turn, it heals your whole lineage going forward. So if you have any children, the DNA, the ancestral DNA, the ancestral lineage that gets passed down, the energetic imprint that gets passed down, that also is healed for future. So it's important work, but it's, like I said, it's not easy. But anyway, let's move on to your oracle cards. So I'm going to do this reading a little bit differently. We've got two cards, an archetype card and a wound card, which I'm going to start with. This is the archetype and the wound that you're working to release at the moment through this full moon in Pisces portal, whenever you're drawn to this reading. And then the other two cards are what is available to you on the other side of releasing this and healing this. So we have got unrecognized, card number 26, and we've got the mother, yes, the female line, card number 1. Okay, so let's start with these two. So yeah, basically I feel like that's confirming what I channeled through about this being probably on the maternal line, on the female ancestral line, that healing needs to be done. I feel like there is a wounding that is around not being recognized, that the mother, it's like, so potentially when you incarnated, your childhood experience could have been that your mother didn't really recognize you, like you weren't, you know, your true soul, your true spirit, your true essence. It was just never recognized. It was never supported. It was never validated, all of that. And there's definitely crossovers between parts 1, 2, and 3 with that. wound. But with you, pile number 3, where it's less about just going back and releasing a specific childhood trauma or a general pattern from childhood, this is like very ancestral. It goes deeper than just doing sort of inner child healing. That is valid and that is appropriate and that is important, but it's the root of it stems from something deeper, and it's coming down the female ancestral line. And I feel like your mother was also unrecognized by her mother, and so on and so forth. It goes further back. It's a deep wound. I feel like it's a lot to do with, like, it's a very specific, like, gender wound, like a wound on about surrounding being female is what I'm hearing, like surrounding what women could do. In fact, you know, I was picking up earlier that whole story about, like, you know, the sort of shaming, like the being called a whore or something like that. So it might have been something related to sexuality, maybe not. It might have just been something related to, like, self-expression around, like, what it means to be a good mother, around, like, you know, being, I guess, like, what you were expected to do. Like, I'm just kind of being shown old, like, back in, like, the 1800s and stuff, like, what women were, you know, it's like they had no lives outside of the home. You know, it was very suppressed, very controlling. They were often expected to just, you know, essentially they were sort of bought like cattle in a way, like exchanged for money or for, you know, a dowry or whatever. And this, of course, still goes on in many parts of the world, but I'm just kind of being shown this sort of well, it could have been past life, or, you know, ancestral lineage situation where, yeah, there was, like, you know, kind of sold and into probably, you know, with a partner that didn't recognize or love them, and then, you know, having expected to have lots of children, and just very hard, difficult lives. And it may have gone, you know, back. And I mean, if anything, it probably got worse. And again, this could have been, for some of you, this could have been your past life. It could have been that you were a mother in a past life and you had a very difficult past life where you weren't recognized, or where, like, you weren't supported, you weren't seen for who you really were. It's like you couldn't, do anything. It's like you couldn't do anything outside of the home. It was very tight and controlling and restrictive is what I'm getting. I'm being called to read the guidebook because I feel like there's something I read in here about this, about the stifling. Yeah, so the mother contains both light and dark aspects of the feminine. With the best of intentions, the mother wraps her loving arms around her creations and begins to grip what she meant to set free. The mother both nurtures and prohibits growth. She gives yet clings. She creates yet restricts. Yeah, I was getting this restrictive energy. Amid this complex energy, the mother holds the key to the eternal challenge of love. And when light, it says glowing, generative, creative, and nurturing. And when dark, it's dim, exhausted, controlling, and limiting. Yeah. So I feel like that bit about when dark, that's the dark feminine within your ancestral family line, on your mother's line. That there's this dark feminine, dark mother energy of sort of both perhaps being nurturing, but also clinging, also being quite restrictive, prohibiting growth. So maybe there was a lot around, like, you know, not a lot of freedom, either within your own childhood or then, like, for your mother or her mother or something. It's like there was just this prohibitive energy. I'm kind of getting religious energy a little bit as well. So for some of you, this ancestral healing could be like healing religious trauma, you know, healing kind of control through, you know, say, like, for example, the Catholic Church or certain religious, really oppressive and limiting and stifling religious beliefs. I mean, that kind of makes sense with the whore thing. It's like the shaming of any kind of sexuality or of passion or sex or just anything like that, of certain expressions. I'm just sort of seeing with this figure how she's got like the snowflakes. It's like very cold. It feels very cold. So it's like your mother or her mother, and going back, it could just be like there wasn't a lot of emotional support. It was very cold. Yeah, just very like not very supportive, essentially. Let's have a look what's available to you once you've worked through and released this wounding. We have got loving. So interesting. Yeah, the heart chakra, card number 19. And we've got the lover, card number, what's this, 17. Wow. Wow, wow, wow. Pile number 3, yeah. I'm getting really strong, a couple of things. So starting up here with the 2 archetype cards. So the energy of these 2 cards is very different. This card is very bound. It's almost like it reminds me of like the rings around Saturn. And Saturn is the planet of like discipline, control, like boundaries, time, you know, it's the lord of time. It's like, you know, the karma that we have to meet and work through by a certain time. It's boundaried, it's control, you know, and there's this, it's like I was saying with that, it's stifling energy. It's like keeping you, or keeping, you know, your someone in your ancestry, or keeping you when you were in a past life very like tied to the nest, very very suppressed, very like obligated to stay close to home kind of thing, or close to the mother, or close to like, you know, not sort of stray outside of that social sphere, or away from the family or the community, kind of like staying where you can be kind of kept or controlled. It's a very kind of confining energy. And this energy, the lover, is like completely the opposite. Look how kind of expansive and expressive it is. It's very orange energy. Which makes me think of the sacral chakra, which is all about passion and creativity. This came up a bit for pile 2, so creativity, so there may be some overlaps with pile 2 and pile 3, but it's this energy of like, you know, it can be about like being the lover in terms of like the archetypal lover, like in a romantic sense for sure, or in a sexual sense, but it's more about just sensual pleasure and seeing the bright side of life and seeing the joy in life and experiencing joy and experiencing bliss and going after sensual pleasures and going after things that, like, you know, you love to do. You know, the lover participates in activities that they love, that they enjoy, that, you know, that nourish them and nurture them. And I feel like that's something that it may be even impacting your life now in a way that is sort of maybe unconscious. Like you may not fully realize that there's like parts of yourself, parts of your soul that want to be reintegrated in this lifetime, but they've been, because of the family or something that you've incarnated into, the family system I'm hearing that you've incarnated into, it's like that mirrored something that happened either in a past life, or like it's something that is carried through your ancestral tradition. And part of your work here as a light worker is to heal that, is to heal that connection with love, with unconditional love, with sensual pleasure, with joy, with doing things that you love. We've got this snake here, and snakes are symbolic of transformation. You know, they shed their skin, so it's all about kind of shedding an identity, shedding a part of ourselves that needs to die away to like bring something new. It's like regeneration energy. And this mother card talked about like when this archetype is in its light form, it's generative. So there's something around sort of regenerating, tapping into that loving motherly energy that is light, that is nurturing, that is unconditionally loving, unconditionally supportive, that really recognizes you for who you truly are. And I do feel like I'm kind of hearing like a process of remothering yourself, part number 3. So for some of you, you know, this may be something you've already been doing. You've already had to do that in a child healing and had to like reparent yourself or remother yourself because you may not have got the support, recognition, or validation that you needed as a child. And I'm so sorry, pile 3, you've been through this. Yeah, I feel like I'm getting strongly heart chakra healing and sacral chakra healing with the orange, the kind of orangey glowy color here. Maybe for some of you that this past life wound may be impacting your relationships and maybe impacting your ability to kind of attract unconditionally loving partners or feel unconditionally loving towards people. You may carry a sort of a wounding around being like freedom is what I'm hearing. So like that stifling thing. Interesting. Let's get some tarot to get a bit more, shed a bit more light on this. So we shuffled the deck, so let's just get straight in. So pile 3. Spirit, can you tell us a bit more about this mother wound? Whoa. No, I don't feel like it's that. Sorry, pile 3. I just realized I didn't shuffle the deck after pile 2, so I'm just going to go, which is why I put that 2 of Pentacles back because it came out on the last one. My apologies. Okay. Okay, Spirit. Pile number 3. Can you tell us more about this mother and unrecognized energy? Okay. 7 of Pentacles. Yeah, waiting. 8 of Wands and 9 of Cups. What I'm hearing is holding back, waiting to go towards what brings you inner fulfillment, what brings you happiness, what brings you joy, what you love to do. It's like it could be a bit of self-sabotage, which again, I spoke about a little bit in pile 2, so you may feel called to watch that as well. But it's like a pattern of, I guess if there's been that stifling energy, if you've been like held back or stifled or repressed in any way, if you've been not encouraged to go after what you love to do or to love who you want to love or express yourself in a certain way, or it could be related to sexuality or how you dress or your gender or whatever it is, it's like, or whatever brings you happiness, right? Whatever brings you joy, whatever brings you emotional fulfillment, it's like you've been holding yourself back from just going towards it. And I feel like that's what you're healing, is like you're not waiting anymore. You're done with waiting. You're not waiting to be recognized by a mother who can't really recognize you for who you truly are and can't unconditionally love you for who you truly are. You're choosing to reparent, to remother yourself, give yourself that love, to become that lover archetype where you're like, yeah, I'm gonna love life. I'm gonna look for, you know, the rainbow after the rain, right? You know, after the emotional difficulties, the difficult times, the turmoil, it's like you get your rainbow, you get your happy ending. You're going after that. You're going after what brings you joy, what brings you emotional fulfillment. You're not waiting anymore. And I feel like once you release this wounding, and heal this past life thing, which I feel like this eclipse energy will support you with, like it'll energetically shift something for you. It will allow much, you know, 8 of Wands is fast energy. it's fiery energy, it's passionate energy, it's like fast movement towards, you know, Nine of Cups is your ultimate happiness, your inner fulfillment. It's a card of independence. It's like you don't need anyone else to give you that love, that recognition, that validation. You don't need to go and get it from a partner or from your mother or from whoever it is. It's like you can create, you can generate that. There's that generative energy. You can generate it for yourself. You can find what brings you joy. You can find what fills your cup up. You can find things that you love and you can take action on it. It's interesting, we've got in this Eight of Wands, we've got a lot of gray energy. It almost looks like a storm with like lightning coming out of gray clouds, but then there's a sun that's coming out in the background. The sun is still there. It's just like you're clearing all that like cloudy energy from this kind of wounding, I feel like, that's caused you to feel kind of getting an abandonment wound, really unrecognized as sort of, you know, it's like being, yeah, in a way you were abandoned, even if you weren't literally abandoned. It's like spiritually or emotionally you were abandoned because you weren't recognized or seen or held or appreciated for who you truly were. So let's finish with the Creative Consciousness Healing card. Oh my gosh, and we've got Mushroom Touch with Decomposing Shame, card number 44. Yeah, I think I mentioned something about shame when I was channeling at the beginning, about the ancestral female line, with there being shame on the family, like maybe like a curse where it was like, oh, shame on you because you did this, or, you know, something like that. So yeah, there could be this, which is very, shame is stored in the sacral chakra, particularly if it's related to anything to do with like sexuality or sexual expression or creative expression, or emotional expression, you know, that's all stored in the sacral chakra. So yeah, sacral chakra healing could be called for as well. And chakra healing can also release and heal, you know, because it's the energy centers of the body, and in those energy centers, that can be where past lives and ancestral stuff can get stored in those chakras, in those energy centers. So doing that chakra healing can help to release and make available more energy to us as we shift old energy that's kind of trapped in those chakras, that's making them either overactive or underactive. Okay, let's read from the guidebook. 44. Okay, letting go, releasing perfectionism, releasing control, releasing self-judgment. This card comes to you with the freedom to release yourself from any toxic shame, perfectionism, self-judgment, or control patterns you may be holding in your body and mind. Many of us developed these feeling and thinking patterns to protect ourselves when we were young. Releasing these patterns can feel chaotic and messy at times. Imagining the power of mushrooms and feeling their energy can be a powerful tool for you in this process. Mushrooms have been known to not only break down toxic chemicals, but to clean and purify the earth with their decomposition process. Mushrooms containing psilocybin have been proven to regenerate and heal the brain. There's that regeneration again. Generating and regenerating, like I was talking about the snake, is very important for you, pile number 3. They can do the same for you with toxic shame patterns. Nature isn't always beautiful. Decomposition is messy and chaotic. Things don't always look like blooming flowers. Allow yourself the sweet freedom you deserve by allowing the power of mushrooms to guide you back to your true self. And there's a creative visualization here, which I'll hold up with the camera in case you want to do it in your own time. Close your eyes and feel into your body. Is there anywhere in your body you feel shame? Is there a memory, thought, or situation you recall where shame feels present in you? Try sinking into that part of your body. Reach your hand or finger up to that part and imagine a beautiful flow of soft purple mushrooms. Imagine the mushrooms penetrating the shame at its core. Allow the mushrooms to decompose the shame all the way down through this and every lifetime. That's so interesting. This is talking about through past lives as well. Feel it cleansing your body and returning the toxic sludge back to soil. Whenever you feel a familiar tug of shame or control in your body, feelings, or thoughts, try touching your hand to that place and allowing those soft purple mushrooms to lovingly decompose these systems that no longer serve you. And the journal prompt is, try journaling with the part of your body that feels like it's storing shame. What messages does it have for you? How can you support it? Beautiful. Okay, pile number 3. I feel like those are all the messages I have for you. I hope that resonated for you. Drop me a comment, even if it's just an emoji below. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button if you're not already part of the community. I would love to have you here. Check out my website, elstemple.com. I offer private readings and goddess asteroid birth chart readings. I also have a cosmic goddess newsletter every new moon and full moon. I'm also offering a dark goddess circle coming up. It's a 6-month journey starting on the 3rd of November on lunar Samhain. We're going to be working with some very powerful goddesses to alchemize the shadow, ignite your creativity, and step into your power, including Hekate, Lilith, and Isis, and many other powerful goddesses. I'm working with powerful feminine archetypes as well to activate those archetypes within to help support you with that shadow process and with stepping into your power. So check that out if you feel called to. I'd love to welcome you there. I'm only taking a few spaces. I'm opening it up to a very small group to keep the work really potent and also make sure that everyone has time to like share and work through with everything that we're going to be doing in the circle. So check that out. I'll leave the link to that below. Otherwise, all the best with your journey to healing your past lives and ancestral wounds. And I will see you in the next reading. All my love to you. Bye.